The group I put together for this trip was composed of different majors, minors, racial backgrounds, country of origin. It was a group of 11 really diverse students who brought really different, valuable things to the group. Hi, I'm Superior Murphy. I am a second-year student at Beloit. I am a political science major, critical identity studies minor. I decided to take on leading this trip after experiencing the immigration awareness experience last year. It was really impactful for me, so I decided to take on leading it this year. I hope that every year there's someone on the trip who's as impacted as I was and decides to continue the trip.
Hello, I'm Giselle. I'm a first year. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my intended major is international relations. Why I applied to this program is because I wanted to learn more about the immigration issue, what organizations do to mitigate that issue, and how can I as a student be a participant in that action.
My name's Yolanda. I'm a first year. I use they, them pronouns. I plan on majoring in Chris in education. Being first generation, I knew somewhat about immigration process, but I wanted to learn more. And I feel like a lot of the topics I covered in class apply to the topics we talk about on this trip.
My name is Gator and I go by he, him, his. I'm a sophomore, class of 2021, and my majors are international relations and media studies. I applied to this trip because I'm interested in the immigration process, and I also want to learn more about the difference between the immigration laws in Mexico and back in my country as well.
My name's Lincoln. I'm a sophomore. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a biochemistry and literary studies double major. I decided to apply for the Weissberg Immigration Awareness trip because I am not from the U.S. I'm from a small island in the Marianas, and I really just wanted to learn more about the U.S.'s take on immigration and what the situation is like currently.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I am a second year. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm an anthropology major. I heard really good things about last year's trip, and through anthropology I've been focusing on migration and development and immigration and refugees.
I'm Maria Elvira. I'm a sophomore and I'm a double major in environmental studies and international relations, and I use she, her pronouns. I applied to this trip because I'm interested in human rights, and especially I think that migration is an issue that is relevant to everyone, not only in the U.S. but around the world, and the discrimination surrounding this issue is very concerning to me, and I'm interested in finding out ways that I, as a normal citizen, can do something about this.
My name's Olivia Birmingham. I use she, her pronouns. I'm currently a junior and I'm an international political economy major. I chose to apply to this trip as somebody who is more seriously considering immigration myself, now that I'm close to my junior year and an international student. Even from the perspective of somebody who already holds student visa status and is among one of those privileged groups, it seems very daunting and very difficult process as is, let alone being undocumented, coming from different communities and so on and so forth. And so the extra obstacles that many other immigrants face is something that I was really interested in.
I'm Mauricio Sosa Cardenas, psych major. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm a senior. I chose to apply for this trip because I've been interested in immigrant rights since I was a kid, and I thought this program was a great opportunity to learn more about these organizations in Colorado focusing on immigrant rights.
I'm Gabe. I'm a senior. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm an IR major. I chose to apply to this trip because I'm really interested specifically in the kind of intersection of politics and identity as it relates to immigration, and specifically within that, I'm really interested in migrant labor. I am hoping to work professionally in some way in that field, and so I thought this was a really good opportunity to learn a lot more about it.
My name's Thea Pantelios. I use they, them pronouns. I'm majoring in environmental studies and minoring in Spanish. I became interested in this trip because I wanted to know more about immigration justice and experiences related to immigration and that process. And for this trip, I'm the videographer, so I'm recording and documenting the events and organizations that we are interacting with to show what this trip is about.
I think the most impactful thing that I've learned during this trip is on the Latina Advocacy Day. I've learned how to advocate for your bills and how to talk to your legislators.
To see how everyday citizens can be influential in changing legislation, making a change in something that they believe in. I think having students be exposed to something like this was really, really valuable.
Learning about how bills are worked and the amount of work that goes into them, and how just the wording of a sentence in a bill could change someone's life.
Seeing all the powerful Latinx individuals just talking about the change that has been made and the change that's happening in that moment, it just made me realize how possible change can happen.
For me, the most impactful aspect of this experience has been seeing the real tangible things that people, activists, have been able to promote and to implement.
All of these different people in different positions and how impactful each person can be, and that just made me realize how much potential I have to do awesome things and really help in whatever way I can. I don't need to be the president to change things, but I can just do whatever I can do.
Casa de Paz, which is created by Sarah Jackson, starting out in a one-bedroom apartment and has now become a home where many families have been hosted.
Making your home available to family members of the people in detention centers, or when they get out, having a place to stay. Humanizing them in that way is so important, giving them the dignity that they deserve. I think that was really powerful.
I think the most impactful thing for me on this trip was kind of learning more about the immigration policy in the U.S. And I think talking to Sarah at Casa de Paz about when immigrants go through the detention center and when they're released, she made that really transparent, which I really appreciated. And also talking to Josh outside the immigration courthouse, he really told us what immigrants kind of have to go through in order to seek asylum and the different kinds of asylum.
Seeing organizations like Casa de Paz and Centro Humanitario who helped immigrants find a way to make a living and some form of security while they're trying to get back on their feet. There are little pockets of support throughout the United States for people who are not born here, because the way that society is structured in this country doesn't really allow much space for people who are not born here to be successful, but there are organizations who are taking steps to support immigrants and little by little helping in that way.
After visiting Centro Humanitario, Casa de Paz, the centers that welcomed refugees or immigrants or provided resources for them, I learned that immigration is really politicized and very statistic-based, and it can be more personal, and by that I mean how immigration affects an individual life.
It's easy to hear however many numbers are coming across the border and however many people are in detention centers, but to have somebody sit in front of you who is being affected by these now and being able to see them and realizing that all of those numbers is a person with a family and so on and so forth, and just seeing how many different people can do something, it really is an extremely multifaceted issue, and I think that was a big takeaway for this trip for me.
This trip was sponsored by Weissberg. I submitted a proposal and budget and was awarded the funding to do this week-long spring break trip to Colorado to learn about immigration awareness. I want to thank Bob Norris, the Beloit alum, who helped us with all the connections for the different organizations and activities we did in Colorado. I love it!